The bank lobby in downtown Chicago carried its usual weekday rhythm, a low hum of printers' quiet conversations, and the soft shuffle of polished shoes across marble floors. Daniel stood in line, his young daughter's backpack slung over his shoulder, a reminder of the morning rush he had barely managed. He checked his watch, calculating how much time he had before picking her up from school. When his turn came, he stepped forward with a polite nod, placing his card and a folded notice on the counter. "There's a $7 overdraft fee I don't understand," he said calmly, hoping for a quick resolution. The bank manager barely glanced at the paper before her expression hardened. Her tone shifted from professional to dismissive in seconds, as if she had already judged his entire situation. "You should monitor your account more carefully," she said, her voice edged with impatience. Daniel tried to explain that a delayed payment had caused the issue, that he just needed clarification, not confrontation, but she cut him off, tapping sharply on her keyboard as though ending the conversation before it began. People nearby began to notice, their eyes drifting toward the tension building at the counter. Despite the rising embarrassment, Daniel kept his composure. Years of raising his daughter alone had taught him patience in the face of frustration. He wasn't here to argue just to fix a small mistake. But the manager's next words landed harder than expected. She declared his account a liability and signaled for security. Her decision swift and final. A uniformed guard approached, not aggressively, but firmly enough to make the situation undeniable. The quiet murmur in the lobby grew heavier, filled with curiosity and judgment. Daniel exhaled slowly, gathering his things without protest. His dignity remained intact, even as the moment tried to strip it away. Clutched in his hand, almost unnoticed, was a thick folder, documents that told a very different story about who he was. He stepped aside, pulling out his phone as he walked toward the exit. His voice when he spoke was steady and controlled. "Yes," he said. After a brief pause, "Go ahead and initiate it." Behind him, the bank carried on as if nothing had changed, unaware that within moments, everything was about to inside the branch. The calm routine shattered almost instantly. A sharp notification tone echoed from multiple terminals, followed by a cascade of alerts lighting up screens across the floor. Tellers exchanged confused glances as system warnings escalated from routine to critical within seconds. One employee called for the manager, her voice tight with urgency. The manager, still composed from the earlier encounter, stepped briskly behind the counter, irritation flickering across her face, until she saw the figures flashing in red across the monitor. A withdrawal request had been triggered, and not just any request. The amount displayed made her breath catch. 63 million for a moment. She thought it had to be a system error. Her fingers moved quickly over the keyboard, pulling up the account details. But the numbers remained unchanging and very real. The account holder's identity loaded onto the screen, and the name hit her like a sudden drop. Daniel, the same man she had just dismissed. The same man she had ordered out of her branch over $17. The room seemed to shrink as the realization settled in. Around her, the quiet buzz had transformed into controlled chaos. Phones ringing, supervisors being alerted, compliance protocols activating in rapid succession. "Stop the transaction," she said quickly. But her voice no longer carried authority. It carried panic. A teller shook their head, explaining that the request had already passed initial authorization. Layers, this wasn't a simple account. It was tied to a high-value corporate fund, one that required pre-approved clearance. The kind of client the bank never risked offending. The manager's confidence crumbled, replaced by a growing sense of dread. She glanced toward the glass doors, suddenly aware of how quickly she had judged, how easily she had dismissed someone without a second thought, without wasting another second. She hurried out from behind the counter and rushed toward the exit. Outside, the city moved as usual. Cars passing, people walking, life continuing without pause. Then she spotted him just a short distance away, walking calmly along the sidewalk, his pace steady, his posture unchanged. "Daniel," she called out, her voice breaking through the noise. He stopped and turned, his expression neutral, almost as if he had expected this moment, catching her breath. She approached him, the earlier authority in her tone replaced with urgency and regret. She tried to apologize, her words stumbling over each other. But Daniel simply listened, his gaze steady. There was no anger in his face, only quiet certainty when she finished. He responded calmly, his voice. Even respect shouldn't depend on balance. He said the words lingered longer than any argument could have. Behind them, inside the bank, the consequences of a single moment of judgment were already unfolding, far beyond what anyone had anticipated.